January 17th, 2001. Jason Newsted stood before the biggest metal band in the world and told them he was done. After 15 years of carrying the low end for Metallica, one of the most successful rock bands in history, he walked away. But this wasn't just about wanting a break or pursuing other interests. This was about years of humiliation, creative suffocation, and a breaking point that had been building since day one. This is the story of how Metallica left Jason Newsted in the dust. To understand Jason's story, we need to go back to September 27th, 1986. That's the day Cliff Burton died in a tour bus accident in Sweden. Cliff wasn't just Metallica's bassist. He was a musical force, a creative genius who helped define the band's sound. His death left a void that many believed could never be filled. Enter Jason Newsted. He was just 23 years old, playing in a band called Flotsam and Jetsam. When he auditioned for Metallica, he knew he was walking into something massive. What he didn't know was that he'd spend the next 15 years living in a ghost shadow. From day one, the hazing began. The band members would turn down his bass in the mix during recordings, sometimes to the point where you could barely hear it. They called it paying dues. Jason called it something else. In the documentary, Some Kind of Monster, Jason later revealed, "The first album I did, Justice for All, the bass was turned down so low you couldn't hear it. That was Lars and James's decision. They said I had to earn my spot." Imagine that. You're playing bass for the biggest metal band on earth, and your own bandmates are sabotaging your sound. But Jason endured it because he believed in the music. He believed in Metallica. But the hazing didn't stop with the mix. There were the public jokes, the constant reminders that he wasn't Cliff. During the Justice tour, the band would sometimes introduce him as the new guy, years after he joined. Then there were the nicknames, New Kid. Even though he was in his 30s, Jason threw himself into the band with everything he had. He contributed to the songwriting on the Black Album, Metallica's most successful record ever, selling over 30 million copies worldwide. He toured relentlessly. He gave Metallica his blood, sweat, and loyalty. But here's the thing. Loyalty is supposed to be a two-way street. Throughout the 90s, as Metallica's fame exploded, Jason watched as James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich made all the major decisions. His creative input, tolerated, but rarely embraced. His ideas, often dismissed. One of his biggest frustrations was the lack of musical experimentation. Jason loved playing different styles. He wanted to explore. But Metallica had become a machine, and machines don't deviate from the plan. So Jason did what any creative musician would do. He started a side project. It was called Echobrain, and it was his outlet, his chance to music on his own terms. In 2000, Jason approached the band and told them he wanted to release an Echobrain album. It wouldn't interfere with Metallica. It was just something he needed to do artistically. James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich said no. They told him that being in Metallica was a full-time commitment, that side projects would dilute the brand, that he couldn't do both. Now here's where it gets interesting. Kirk Hammett had his side projects. James had his. But when Jason wanted the same freedom, suddenly it was a problem. Jason later said in interviews, "When I told them I wanted to release something with Echobrain, they said I couldn't. But it wasn't about the music. It was about control. They wanted me to be the bass player and nothing more." This was the breaking point. After 15 years of being the new guy, after having his bass buried in the mix, after being told his creativity didn't matter. This was it. On January 17, 2001, Jason Newsted officially announced his departure from Metallica. The band was in shock. Fans were stunned. How could the bassist of the biggest metal band in the world just walk away? But Jason knew the truth. This wasn't about the money or the fame. This was about respect, about being treated like an equal instead of a hired hand. In his exit statement, Jason was diplomatic. He thanked the band, thanked the fans, and said he needed to pursue other interests. But years later, the real story came out. In a 2013 interview, Jason opened up. "I was exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally. I gave everything to that band and it was never enough. The Echobrain thing was just the final straw. I realized I'd never be an equal partner. I'd always be the guy who replaced Cliff." Metallica, for their part, eventually acknowledged their role in the situation. In Some Kind of Monster, both James and Lars admitted they had issues with control. Lars said, "We probably could have handled things better with Jason. We were so focused on the band that we forgot about the person." So what happened next? Jason did release music with Echobrain. He played with several other bands, including Voivod and Canadian metal legends. He even toured with Ozzy Osbourne. Was he happy? He said in interviews that leaving Metallica was the best decision he ever made for his mental health. As for Metallica, they brought in Robert Trujillo, who's been with them ever since. And to their credit, they seem to have learned from their mistakes. Robert has been given more creative freedom, more respect. In 2016, Jason reunited with Metallica for a one-night-only performance to celebrate the opening of San Francisco's AT&T Park. It was emotional, it was healing, but it was also a reminder of what could have been. Jason Newsted gave 15 years of his life to Metallica. He played on some of their greatest albums. He toured the world. He earned his place in rock history. But the question remains, did Metallica give him what he deserved in return? The story of Jason Newsted isn't just about one bassist leaving one band. It's about creative freedom, mutual respect, and what happens when those things are missing. It's a reminder that even in the biggest bands in the world, the human element matters. That talent deserves recognition. That loyalty should be reciprocated. Jason Newsted left Metallica in the dust, but maybe, in the end, he was the one who came out ahead. What do you think? Was Jason right to leave, or should he have stuck it out? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more untold stories from rock history. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.